you fight, and can you fight back effectively, and what can you use to defend yourself? What are the force multipliers, things that you can carry to defend yourself when you need to? The idea of run, hide, fight, we've been teaching for years and years, and it's something that we don't always teach right, and we don't ever, it seems, talk about the fighting part. I do, because I'm a self-defense instructor and I am a security consultant. I work in security, and I'm teaching people the fight part all the time. But you don't always have the ability to fight a bigger, stronger opponent using traditional methods. So we want to shift our way out of thinking that, the fight that we're talking about is like a boxing match or a grappling match or jiu-jitsu or an MMA or something like that. That kind of fight, that use of the word fight in that situation is not what we're talking about when we talk about self-defense. We talk about self-defense, we're talking about using violence against violence, especially in a one-on-one confrontation. If you have an active shooter, if you have a predator, if you have someone who's coming after you to take away your freedom, your dignity, your life, your health, your ability to continue to breathe and live in this world in a successful way, you have to use a totally different concept of fight. And fight is not in the same category. You might use some of the boxing techniques. You might use some grappling technique. You might use that if you know them and you've trained them, but you might not. You don't necessarily have to know those things in order to use them. Now, immediately people will go in their mind to the idea, especially if they lived here in the United States and there's the Second Amendment, which means that you're allowed to carry a gun. Their idea of fight is, well, I'm going to use a gun to defend myself. And I'm not against that. I believe in that. I carry for work. I carry when I'm not working. I carry everywhere I go. Everywhere that I can go, I'm always carrying. So it's not that I'm against a gun at all, and that's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about what happens in this video if you can't carry a gun, because a lot of places in the world, you might not be able to run, you might not be able to hide, and you might have to fight, but you're not going to be able to fight with a gun. And so what do you have? You're not even going to be able to fight with a knife. In most places, if you can't carry a gun, they're not going to let you have a knife. They don't even let you have, in some places, pepper spray. They won't let you have a baseball bat. I saw a video recently in Great Britain. A young man comes out of a store, like a sporting goods store, and he's carrying a baseball bat still in its wrapper, and he gets apprehended for carrying a deadly weapon. So there are places where they're taking away your freedoms to defend yourself with certain things. So I want to talk about, in these videos, there's going to be a series of videos. We're going to talk about improvised weapons of self-defense that you can carry, or things that are aligned with martial arts traditionally, like a stick, a walking stick, a staff, not a set of nunchucks, not something that you can't carry that's obviously not able to, but things, especially sticks. Sticks are popular in martial arts, or were popular for a long time. And if you take them out of the concept of martial arts and you think about what it really is, you can learn how to fight with a stick in some of the techniques of the martial arts, and then use the principles of self-defense, applying violence to stop violence. You can use something like, the first one we're going to talk about is a pocket stick. Now, pocket stick, they're going to go smallest to largest. We'll talk about different things in different videos. I'll make a video for each one, but I want to talk about this run, hide, fight. Run, hide, fight, this idea that's been a popular thing that law enforcement and security people tell civilians, or you're out with your family, or you're in the school settings, obviously, or you're at a public gathering, or you just happen to be at the store, and someone comes with a gun, someone starts attacking with a car, trying to run people over, someone gets out with a knife, starts stabbing people. Run, hide, fight. And so we accept that we want to run if we can run. That's if you can run, because not everybody can run, but most people will be able to run. Hide if you can, find concealment and cover, understand what the difference is. Concealment is when they can't see you. Cover is when it stops bullets from going through. If you would hide behind like the engine block of a car, or like a block building, cement building, and you have some cover. So we can't run, we can't hide. How are we going to fight? And so the pocket stick, we use it in three ways, and I'm going to show you how this becomes a force multiplier, something that you can use. Anybody can pick one up. You don't have to be a martial artist, but can you fight with the pocket stick? And this one is called the selfie stick, and this one is made out of stainless steel. It's very heavy, and that's going to be important here in a minute when I show you how to use it. But you would use something like this in your fist, squeezing it, to keep your knuckles from compressing and adding weight to your fist, so that when you strike someone in his face for self-defense, or in his body, you're hitting with more force than you could with an empty fist. Empty fist being a fist, but it's closed, but you don't have anything in it. You put some weight in it, It keeps your knuckles compressing, and then you can smash his teeth down his throat for self-defense. So you can't run, you can't fight or hide. You have to fight. Can you fight with a Yawara pocket stick? And I like this one because it's heavy, and that means when you hit him, you are going to break his jaw. You're going to hit him with a lot more force than you would if you just had an empty hand. And Hank asks, can you use a regular stick? Answer is absolutely yes. It does not have to be a branded, something that you pay for. You can buy a dowel rod. I would get oak or something heavy, something a little bit heavier, in 1 inch or 1 inch in a diameter. This one's about 1 inch. And then cut it down to about 6 inches. That's my ideal size. That's the size that I like the best, because that puts some that comes out each of their side. I'm going to talk about this side and this side, but right now we're talking about with it in your fist. It becomes a fist load. This fist loaded concept has been around forever and ever. It's the way that people in a street fight might break someone's jaw easier, because they're holding a roll of quarters, or they're holding brass knuckles, or they have something in their hand that makes their hand heavier, not just the hitting with the knuckles, but the weight in their hand. So when you use what you have naturally, your fist, but you put something in your hand, fist load, you hit with a lot more force. So can you fight when you have to run, hide? Can't run, can't hide. Now you have to fight. The threat is upon you. You're going to fight back. You have to fight back, because the alternative is either death or severe injury or indignation. They take away from you your dignity, right? So how do you fight back? Can you fight with a stick? Simple as this. Like I said, in this video series, we're going to talk about different improvised self-defense tools. First one being a simple stick. It could also be a pin. It could be a marker. It could be a Kubotan keychain. Something like this. This company, Selfie Stick, makes a Kubotan style keychain that you would do the same thing with. You're squeezing it, adds weight to your hand. This one you could also strike him in the face, and we'll talk about the other side. Second way to use a pocket stick, or a Yawara, the Japanese Okinawan style martial arts will call this a Yawara. Squeezing here, you have this coming out of your pinky side. You would jab it into his face, back fist, hammer strike into the groin, into the guy behind you. This side coming out of your thumb. Third way to strike, poking or pressing into the soft tissue of the face, popping his eye out of the socket, smashing it through his nose, smashing the teeth down his throat. Fatal strike through the throat if you had to defend your life. And sometimes, and again, this goes back to the first concept, when run, hide, fight, I'm not talking about a boxing match. I'm not talking about a street fight. I'm not talking about a high school fight, after class, where you've got a beef, or a road rage incident where you're in the wrong. This is purely self-defense, when it's life or death. And there's a movie coming out, I think it's called Run, Hide, Fight, Infidels. They made another movie, the same group of people, Run, Hide, Fight. It was about a school situation where a young lady was trained to fight back. And then the concept is that when you can't run, you can't hide, you have to fight. And it's true that when people fight back, when you have no other choice, when you fight back, that changes the odds dramatically. It's like what I've taught in anti-bullying programs for years and years. There's a lot of stuff you do with your mouth to stop the bully, stop him in his tracks, turn it into a conversation, and stop the bullying. But when that bully's intent on smashing you in the face, and his fist is balled up and it's coming, and you smash him in his face first, that changes the outcome dramatically, changes the odds of what's going to end, how the fight ends. It's going to change them in your favor, just simply by fighting back. Most bullies, most punks, most cowards don't want to be confronted, don't like to be fought back against, and will either crumble or run or disappear simply because you fought back. And that changes everything. So Run, Hide, Fight, this movie, Run, Hide, Fight, Infidels, it's about terrorism and other things that I won't go into. Although I'm very much looking forward to seeing the thrusting here. You can also swing it this way, stick it in his ear, stick it in his nose, stick it in his eyes, stick it in the side of his neck, stick it into his ribs, swinging this way. He's very powerful, that back fist motion and that punching motion. So first, self-defense tool. If you have to, you can't run, you can't hide, it's time to fight. The selfie stick, I put a link in the description. I think it's upside down. Link in the description. My favorite is this one because it's so heavy. It's stainless steel. They also make it in aluminum. And I showed you the keychain, or you can make your own, or you could carry a pin, a thick, heavy pin. They sell self-defense pins. You could carry a big Sharpie marker. You could carry all kinds of things that would act as fist load, and then a striking surface coming out of each side. But I want you to think about what you could use and what you could throw in your pocket, because you might not be able to get away with the selfie stick if you're in London. If they're taking away the kid's baseball bat, then they might also not look favorably upon this, although they might. I would tell them this is a self-massage stick. I use it to break up muscle adhesions, and I use it for trigger point massage, and it looks just like a massage stick, right? It looks like a lot of things, but it's a simple stick. I want you to think outside the box. I want you to think about, what if you had to, we call this tabletop exercise in security and law enforcement, when we're talking about what could possibly happen, how will we respond? We do a tabletop exercise, we talk it through, we come up with all the scenarios, good and bad, what we would do if this happens, what would we do if that happens. And I want you to think that way. I want you to think about, what if you were faced with this situation where there's a mass attack, or there's a gunman, or someone stabbing people, or someone tried to run people over with their car and then jump out and try to stab people, and it happened to you, or you were close enough where you could intervene, if you could be of some help. How would you fight back? What skills do you have? What have you trained with? What tools might you carry on your person that you could get away with? It's not a gun. And if you can carry a gun, like I said, I'm always carrying. I believe in my right to, but I live in this country where they allow me to do that. Plus I have licenses that allow me to do that. But you might live in a part of the world, most of the rest of the world, they're taking away your freedom, your ability to defend yourself with tools like that. So what else could you use? Because before the gun, there was the knife. Before the knife was the stick. And before the stick was the rock. Before the rock was the fist and the headbutt and the knees and the feet and, you know, whatever we had. We know how to fight. We instinctively can defend ourselves, but it takes a little bit of thought. And you can grab a tool to take this, your best self-defense weapon, your brain, put a tool in your hand, and then operating the tool increase your ability to defend yourself. We learned that in the Marine Corps, right, Hank? All right. I'm going to do more of these videos. I'm finding different self-defense tools right now, improvised self-defense tools, improvised self-defense weapons that might not look like one. I'm going to talk about a belt. I'm going to talk about the cane, obviously. I'm going to talk about different size sticks. I want to talk about rocks again. I want to talk about throwing, self-defense tools, and all the things that you can use. So thanks for being here. Please put in the comments if you use the Uwara, or do you use something else. Maybe you might use a lighter. You might carry a knife like the Kay Sullivan says tactical pins. I have the Atomic Bear tactical pin that I carry on my gear that has a window breaker on it, and it's designed to be a self-defense tool. I carry my SOG knife, but this SOG knife fits perfectly in my fist, and if I want to keep it closed, it acts as a fist load. So you can strike with it as a fist load with it closed, and if you have to, maybe, you know, if you know how to fight with knives, if you know how to defend yourself, you can whip it open like that. But you can't carry that in Canada. That's illegal in Canada because you can open it with one hand. I can't carry that in Ireland. We were in Ireland last year. Couldn't carry any kind of knife. Couldn't even carry a pair of scissors with over a certain size blade. Couldn't carry a pair of fingernail clippers that had a little knife in the other end. So they've taken away, in a lot of places, your freedom, your ability to defend yourself with traditional things that people think of as weapons. But what are the self-defense tools that you can carry with yourself? And that's what this video series is going to be about. And I'll see you guys on